Hello, Hayley here, and welcome to today's episode of the Awakening Collective podcast. We are talking 3 spiritual habits that will unlock your intuition and build unshakable confidence in your abilities, in trusting in yourself and the messages that are coming through to you. Most people I know have great intuition. Most people who come to me for guidance and for help that I've met in circle, that I've worked with, really do have great intuitive insights, great connection to spirit, but it's just that trust and that confidence that what either is coming through is clear enough, or what is coming through they're interpreting it correctly. So it's more confidence and trust than what they're actually receiving, which is why I talk so much about not depending on and not constantly working on the third eye, because if you already have intuition and it's already coming in, but you're still constantly going, oh, it must be my third eye, it must be my third eye, 9 times out of 10, it's just the trust that you have in yourself. And so, it's more about the things that we're going to talk about today, those habits that we can implement more than anything else. So like I said, I'm going to share those 3 habits, actually 4. I've thrown in an extra one in there. It's hard to get used to intuition, because I think a lot of us as well don't think that something is intuition when it is. And it took me a little bit of time to really understand sort of my dominant clairs and what the clairs actually looked like and felt like. And I do have a podcast about the 8 clairs a few back, if you'd like to go and listen to that. Because I always thought that I was just a seer. So I'm very good imagination and I get very clear images and pictures coming through into my mind. But it took me a very long time to understand that I actually had quite good knowing as well. But I just didn't see it as such. I thought I was just making stuff up, really, because that's what it kind of feels like when you have that intuitive knowing. But I also had intuitive feeling. Like, we have all of those, clairs, and it's just as we start learning and practicing, we feel into them more. They get a little bit stronger. They expand. So I wasn't always somebody who was like all over intuition and things right from the beginning. It was a development. It was there and I noticed it in small amounts. But it wasn't until I started putting these things into place and really practicing those things that it started to develop. It starts to get bigger, but it really does come down to the trust. And the more validation that you get from other people, the more validation you get from things going on in your own life that have come through to you, where you really start noticing. And the more that you trust, and the more confidence you get, the louder the messages actually become, the more fluent the messages become. It all kind of works together. So let's talk about these 4, 3 and 1 bonus habits that we can implement in our everyday lives. Carve out the time to do it, and that are really going to help you. So the first one is play, you guys. So spirit loves play and joy. Our lives love joy. Our soul loves joy. And the more that you can play with your intuition, with your inner wisdom, with spirit, and the fun that you have in it, the lighter it becomes and the easier it is to bring things in. So what do I mean by play? I mean oracle cards, runes, making crystal grids, using pendulums, creating grids outside. I'll go through all these a little bit more. So, we all know about our oracle cards. I'm a huge oracle card person. And if you do come into my world, I do a lot with oracle cards all the time, because they are my favorite way to connect. But they're also really great for those of you who don't feel, a lot of the time when people talk about connecting to intuition and connecting to spirit guides, it's all about meditation. And I agree with that. Like, I think, learning meditation as a skill is a really great idea, but it is very, very hard for some people. And if you're kind of just getting into it, or even if you've been doing it for a while, but you still aren't confident in meditation, you still can't sit for a long amount of time, or you don't feel like you're pulling any threads of information through, using oracle cards or tarot cards is a great thing to be doing, because you're reading a picture. You flip a card over. So I've got some in my hands. You flip a card over and you can feel into the energy of it. You can see what's the picture showing to you. Is it showing strength? Is it showing quietude? Is it, are the colors bright and bold, or are they soft and flowy? And, so we can use tarot and oracle cards as a way to begin to put a story together using the picture, rather than feeling like you're just all alone out in a vast meditative space trying to pull through information. Because I think that's the thing when we're first developing intuition in meditation, is that people try to reach up and pull information down rather than just allowing, and getting into that practice and allowing rather than pulling. It does take time and can take a long time for some people, and that's okay. That's just not the best way that you get your information through, and maybe using cards or runes or doing automatic writing or something like that is more your jam, and that's cool. But that's why I love oracle cards too. So we've got oracle cards, like I said, runes. We can do psychometry. So you can grab a photo of somebody who's passed over, like one of your own relatives, or, you can say to a girlfriend, hey, I'm practicing this, do you have a photo of a past loved one that I can borrow, just to connect to them and see what comes through? And so playing with psychometry, like I said, crystal grid. So just sitting and allowing your intuition to guide you through what crystals need to be where on a grid, whether, you want a candle on there as well, or feathers, or whatever you want to place. Using a pendulum. I'm not a huge user of a pendulum because I think we can easily manipulate them. But what I do use mine for is on a grid on a piece of paper. So like I have an emotion wheel that I use sometimes if I can't pinpoint an emotion that's stuck in my body, or that I'm not quite like having trouble articulating. So I have an emotion wheel, and I hold the pendulum in the middle of the emotion wheel and allow it to pull to the emotion that is coming up for me. So using a grid like that to help you with your intuition with your pendulum is something that is really, really helpful. Sometimes if I'm making a decision, I might put, I don't know, let's just, for example, because all I can come up with right now, go left or go right. I'll write left on one side, right on the other, and allow the pendulum to pull to where it needs to be. So using a pendulum is another great way to play and to bring information through and to get answers on something that you need clarity on. Asking for physical signs. I'm not very good at this. I don't get a lot of physical signs out in the wilderness. And I think it's because so many people ask for feathers. Like I had this real big thing about it. Because I know that I've been around people and they've gone, oh, I asked for a feather, but there's like 1,000 feathers because 2 feet across there's like a bird that's been, unfortunately hurt by another animal, and so like there's feathers everywhere. And to me, that's not a sign. That's just you were just walking past a bird that died. Like I get like I get really, I know, I'm so sorry, and I shouldn't be laughing about it. And because some of you are really great at bringing in physical signs, but that's just not me. I think I need to work better on my connection with the 3D maybe. Free writing and automatic writing. So, you can either bring through a loved one or bring through a guide, and then just, write a question at the top of the page and say, this is what I'm dealing with. Can you please bring some clarity through around this? And then just start writing and see what comes through. So there's so many different ways that we can play and bring information through that isn't about sitting in meditation all the time, because like I said, I know some people do find that difficult in the beginning, although it is something to keep working on and a great skill to have. And I was going to also mention that I actually have a podcast about tarot cards and oracle cards. I think it's about episode 16. So if you do want to know a little bit more about that, you can go listen to that too, and join us in my Facebook group. I'll put the link in the show notes because we do this kind of thing in there. Like tonight, actually, I'm putting in a post where I pick a card. We just tune into the group. Everyone tunes into the group. I flip a card, and then you have the opportunity to write a word or comments in there, so that everyone's pulling through a little bit of thread and giving each other and giving everyone in the group a beautiful message. So just little things like that. Okay, so that was number 1, play. Number 2, intentional connection. What do I mean about intentional connection? This is where I sort of use more meditative situations. So this is just about intentionally connecting to different types of spirit and different frequencies of guides. So different guides and beings, not necessarily guides, but beings are in different dimensional frequencies. So like you've got your fairies and your elementals that are sort of in that more telluric realm, like your Sasquatch and your pixies. I've got a like beautiful gnome guide who I haven't seen for a while actually. And then you've got the earth on that first dimensional frequency, the iron crystalline core of the earth. You've got dragon beings, Pleiadian beings, all who live in these different dimensional frequencies. And so intentionally asking, if you feel really drawn to dragons, just sitting and asking, okay. And I mean, you can do this with play too. I suppose you can do this when setting out a crystal grid. You can do it with automatic writing, and with cards too. But if you want to like really start seeing and feeling the energy of these beings, meditation is a great way to do it. So yeah, if you feel really drawn to dragons, you can just sit and take some breath and just say, like I'd really love to connect to a dragon being, whether it be an aspect of myself or a representative, and just start to feel what comes through, feel what you get drawn to, the feelings, the colors that you see, and just start intentionally connecting and do it a few days in a row or like a few times. Like I think one of the biggest things is that we do it when we when I say do it, we can try to connect to our guides and angels when we're in trouble, and different beings when we're in trouble and we need clarity and we need guidance and we need help, which is great because that's what they're there for. And it's great that we can that we're in a space where we're believing and trusting that we have these different perspectives that we can harness in. But it's like, and we always liken it to, if you had a friend who only ever rung you when they were in trouble and everything was always drama, and they never just rung you just to say hello or come on, let's go out for a coffee, you'd start feeling a little bit, funny about yourself. And yeah, so it's the same with these guides. Let's create a relationship with them. Let's create a really beautiful energy exchange. And this is why the play is so great, because we're not just connecting with them when we're in dire straits. We're trying to form that relationship and connect with them because we want to know how they work, how they feel, where they're from, what their space is like that they live in, what perspectives they have to bring forward for us. So yeah, that intentional connection. And like I said, like if you, let's say, okay, we'll just keep going with the dragon beings. If you connected to dragons, you might do it at the start of the week and then leave it for a few days and then go back and go do again and see if you can get through more information and more clarity and more connection to these beings. So you can intentionally connect to the Pleiadians, Arcturians, whatever or whoever it is that you feel drawn to. So, we all feel drawn to different beings. Like some people are very connected into fairies or elements, like I said, galactic. So choose one of those and sit and really tune into those on a more consistent basis, even when you're in a good mood, I think is what I'm trying to say there. All right, so that's number 2, intentional connection. Number 3, work on healing your stuff. And we're at a point where a lot of our stuff is just coming up just because we've hit this awakening. And for those of you who are on your awakening journey, you're in that spiritual healing, every single planet shift and moon is going to bring up something. So you kind of don't have to work too hard on finding your stuff, but making sure that your energy is clear in a few different ways is going to help raise your frequency, and therefore your the messages and the tones have a clearer pathway into your knowing and into your frequency. And for even healing and stuff that comes through from guides and angels or from your higher self, it has a better chance of embodying and integrating. So when I'm talking about healing, it's not just about obviously we need to heal our stuff, and not just around intuition. Last week I did a podcast on past life blocks and karmic loops, ancestral stuff. So we want to be clearing that around our intuition and our confidence and our value. But it's not just around that stuff, it's just everything. We want to be clearing out that fourth dimensional frequency. We want to be clearing out our stuff on all levels, like relationships, all those things that are stuck in there. But we also want to make sure that our physical body is clear. People forget about the physical body. And I'm not saying you have to go ahead and be vegan or plant-based or anything, but just be aware of how your body's speaking to you. And if you know that every time you eat a particular food, it makes you feel like poop and it drops your energy, as soon as your energy's dropped, if you try to sit and meditate, and you know what I'm saying, when you feel you eat something or you eat too much and it makes you just feel sluggish and tired and you feel your whole entire body and energy droop, it's very hard for you to connect and bring things in, bring in perspectives, connect in that energy, right? So the more you feel amazing within your body and your body feels like it's thriving and the frequency within your physical body feels good, it's going to be easier for you to connect. It's also going to be easy for you to integrate what they're talking about and integrate healing with what comes with what perspective they're bringing in. So yeah, like I said, it doesn't mean you have to go on some cray diet. Just be aware of what you put in your body and how it makes you feel. And then also just clearing your energy on a daily basis. So making sure that you're checking in with yourself and going, okay, like where are my emotions at? Are these emotions mine? How much other people's stuff have I got in my field? And just make a practice. I every morning sit in my meditation and the first thing I do is breathe and connect down, connect up, and then just clear out my field. So any emotions that don't belong to me or that I don't need anymore, any timelines, trajectories, projections, expectations from other people, even and myself that don't need to be there. Like I just wash them all out of my field. Any fears that are being projected on me or that I'm holding that are not mine, get rid of them all. Collective energy, get rid of it, just so that I'm starting my day with my space and my stuff and not everybody else's. And so, yeah, making sure that you're checking in and doing that and keeping that energy clear is also going to be really, really helpful. So making that a habit is really, really good too. So that is number 3, working on healing your stuff. And the bonus down the bottom, practice your intuition. And you can do this by pulling cards for friends, even doing, like I said, with psychometry, like going to a friend and saying, hey, can I borrow a photo? Please, well, not please, it's up to you, but making sure that you are doing it with people who are passed over, if it's okay, by obviously the person that you're doing it for, like looking into how, even if you go to a friend and they bring you a photo of their ex and say, what's he doing? Probably not very ethical. I'd more be doing a reading on that person and saying, well, why is it so important for you to know what they're doing? Maybe do a reading on that instead. But yeah, so practicing is great. And like I said, I've got a Facebook group where we do stuff like this. And there are many groups out there, like tarot groups and oracle groups, that do little discussions and get to practice, or, find a mediumship group or a psychic development group in your area where they're, a lot of them do just every week. Like one week it might be tarot, the next week it might be flower readings, the next week it might be, like I said, psychometry. So yeah, just getting into a space where you're able to practice using your intuition, and especially with other people, because it can bring you validation. The more validation you get, the more you start trusting and going, oh, actually, like that was right. I'm actually pretty good at this. That validation brings more confidence too. So just to recap, number 1, play. Number 2, intentional connection. Number 3, working on healing your stuff and clearing out your energy field. And the bonus 4th one, practice on other people. So I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions, either contacting me through Instagram or leaving a comment here. The other thing, like I said before, if you'd like to join my private Facebook group and come in and have a play with us, I will leave the link to that below. Also, still this week, Thursday, our circle series starts. Free circle series. This week we are doing past life blocks around your intuition. Next time, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be doing, I've forgotten, no, I haven't, divine feminine energy. So we'll be working on calling in that sort of, real divine feminine and connecting deep into your inner wisdom, that womb center clearing. And then the last week, we're going to be doing spirit guides and oracle cards. So, yeah, it's so exciting. I'm really, really looking forward to it. We've had a lot of beautiful women sign up so far. So, yes, I will leave all the links to all of that below. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me wherever you hang out. And I will see you again soon. All right. Bye-bye.